Sauk Center head coach Kevin Kuefler. Well, I guess, Coach, tonight a game just took care of business tonight, right?
Yeah, that's what we said. We knew Monday's always a little bit scary. We didn't practice Friday, this and that. So I thought our first Monday game of the year, and they play physical, so we knew that we were going to have to handle their physicality. We did some things well, some things not well, but like you said, check it off the list, and never. It's crazy once you get to this time of the year. We still have 9 games left, but we only have 9 practices, right? So 9 games, 9 practices, and we need to value every single opportunity we have together, and we did tonight.
We've touched on this before, that the team seems to be wanting to run a little bit more, kick it out and get it up the floor. How do you think that benefits the team right now?
I think first it's making sure you get the rebound right way, because we're not really leaking people out. But, throughout the year, we've out-rebounded teams most games. And I think that's it only makes sense to run. We got athletes, and, we're still kind of playing 10 guys for the most part, so our legs should be fresh. So, yeah, that's definitely been one of the, second half of the year things. One of the things that we've been trying to emphasize is first get the rebound. You got to get the rebound, or it's absolutely worthless to run. But yeah, play with a little bit more pace and a little bit more flow, and I think that fits our guys.
Now, there's been 10 guys on a rotation. How do you work that? Can you give us some insight on that?
I think it's really hard to do, and I think it's hard from their end as well, because they don't know exactly. Every game's been different. It's so based on matchups, and kind of basketball is a random game, right? Foul trouble, or what's the other team doing? Matchups. Some players are better versus zone. Some people are more better in that physical type of game. Some are not. So I think it's more case by case, which can be hard for them, and to know when it's their number. But we've tried to preach all year that you got to be ready when your number's called. And some games you may not play at all, and then the next game you may be in the game in the final 5 minutes with the game on the line. So I think it's a double-edged sword that we don't have a specific way in which we sub, which I think is frustrating for the team. But it's also fun to coach, because you got pieces, and you got to obviously try to make each game make it work for the betterment of the team.
Now, I'm not saying this is the case, but if a player makes a mistake, I know there's other guys that want to get in there. Is that kind of true, though, to a certain extent?
It is, and we always say if you're playing to not make a mistake, you might as well not play, right? Because you're going to make a mistake. So we want that balance between, we want them to play their role and make simple plays that are within what they do, but also not feeling pressure that, hey, if I mess up, so-and-so will come in. But that is the reality, and I think they know that within the practice setting, too, that, hey, if you have a couple bad practices in a row, nobody's guaranteed anything, and I think they know that, and they've done a good job all year at understanding the ups and downs. We always say ride the wave of the season. Some game it might be this player, next game that player, but for the most part I think they know that obviously there's no way around it. The mistakes have to be held accountable, but I also don't want any player going out there thinking God, I can't make a mistake.
Yeah, because you're at a point here, again, playing 10 still, nobody has shown that, we better take him out of the lineup, right?
Yeah, I think they all bring their different thing, and that's what's fun about it, and that's what we're trying to embrace, no different than personality. You are who you are in this world, and I think we're all better off that way. So I think it's just finding that, that consistency of them playing their specific role, and then there's always difference. It seems like sometimes when you get a lead, people try to expand their role a little bit, and usually that ends up not working out. So I think it's just being consistent within their role, and trusting that what they're doing is for the betterment of the team, even if it's something little like screening or energy or rebounding or even cheering on the bench. You can impact the game, not just when you're in the game, obviously being a good teammate and things like that.
And normally, I guess, you look at Drevlo, Herkoff as the top scorers, Borgening sometimes, but everybody has an opportunity to score, though, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. I think, stars usually get plenty of credit anyway. So, yeah, obviously we need those two guys to have big nights from the scoring aspect. But there is a lot of different players that are chipping in with that, whether it's pushing the ball ahead or setting a good backside screen or getting an offense rebound, and then you get a kick-out three. So, yeah, I think it's just you get what you assess as a coach. And I think we do a lot of little things, I think, that, maybe go unnoticed by people that don't love basketball or watch basketball. We definitely emphasize it on our team. The big gates swing on small hinges, so we definitely want to emphasize the little things.
Gee, I got to write that one down.
Big gates swing on small hinges. I do like that. Yeah.
You must be reading up.
I don't read. No, I'm probably a teacher. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. How about you've got a lot of seemingly guards out there that can handle the ball. How does that work well for you?
Yeah, I think it's good question. We do, it's kind of goofy. I feel like we're starting our best defensive versatility lineup, but it is nice. We probably got. Well, you'd argue we have 3 point guards on our bench, right? So we're not necessarily starting a true point guard. So I think it's case by case who finishes the game. But I do like the versatility that we got different people that can do different things within even the point guard position itself. So I do like our versatility, especially with our starting lineup. I like that Matthew and Jarek are stronger. So it seems like throughout the course of the season, you gotta have guys like that can kind of match up with different people.
So, what about the schedule this week? You got Benson tomorrow night, and you're
Yes.
playing back to back. And Benson, I'm sure you've seen them. They're not bad at all, are
Not
they?
bad at all, right? I mean, they got a lot of wins, and they've played some teams tough within our conference. And 6-8 is not going to be easy. So coming off a game where you're on the road, you're going to have to come out with the energy and enthusiasm. We're going to have to make shots because I think they do a good job of protecting the paint, but I also think we do a pretty good job of knocking down shots. So it's going to be a good game tomorrow against Benson. Then we always say don't worry about Friday's problems because tomorrow will have enough problems in itself. So we got to just focus on Benson, and then obviously we got another game on Friday as well at home versus Montevideo.
Yeah, so with Montevideo, they're still in the top 10. They did take the one loss to Morris, which was a really good win for Morris. But with Montevideo, based on the first game, how can you change things up on Friday?
Yeah, we got to be smarter. I think, obviously last game it's easy to say, oh, we're in fault. So no, okay, that's over. That was part of the game, but we were still beat, right? I mean, we got beat pretty good at Montevideo. So I think it's believing that you can play with them, which I think we do, and I'm not overly worried about like our confidence going into the game. I think this group's pretty confident, but we need to play smarter and better, and obviously keep them out of transition and try to keep their stars as quiet as we can. We're not going to shut them down, but we got to make them work for their baskets because I think they do have 5 scorers, and they play as a team really well. But obviously they got main guys just like everybody that we got to do a really good job of.
And again, I'm going to kind of point out Chad Herkoff. When you talk about playing smart, I think it's more on the defensive end, isn't it, for him?
Yeah, it's that balance of like we want him using them all long arms and kind of being goofy and long around the hoop, and at times I think he's just got to do a better job of adjusting from, hey, you now have 1 foul or 2 fouls, you have to change the way you play when you get a foul early in the game. And I think that's the answer because we don't really want him like prototypical walling up and going straight up and down all the time, right? That's how you get all them contests and blocks is by waving your arms, and he gets a lot of deflection and contests. But once you get a foul called on you, you have to adjust your game, and I think that's the part of the game that he's got to play smarter. And this final stretch, we're going to need him to do that because teams are going to go at him, and he's got to adjust as the game goes on.
And you've talked about being consistent, and am I true in saying that sometimes the team kind of goes up and down here a little bit?
Yeah, within the game, we always say ride the wave of the season, and we know. I think the nice thing about our schedule is, though, I think we know where we're at. I think we know our strengths and weaknesses, and I think you got to pay attention to your team because they'll hint at you where they're truly at. You just got to make sure that you notice. And I think this group's strength has been our practices have been probably maybe the best I've ever had as far as energy, competitiveness, consistency within that. And then we get to the games, and sometimes it's not necessarily the case, but at the same time, we're grinding out this season and obviously doing the best we can. I like where we're at, but definitely not at all content.